everybody. Good day and welcome to today's Operational Services Committee meeting. It is April 30th, the last day of the month, and I am the chair, Chris Thiessen, joined today with committee members Councillor Blackmore, Councillor Berg, and Mayor Clayton. I'll call this meeting to order and move right into business. I'll start with item 2, adoption of the agenda. Councillor Berg.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. I'd like to move committee adopt the agenda as presented.
A motion sounds like it is in order. I'll ask everyone to vote. And that is carried. All right, now we'll move into item 4.1, which is our service area update, and I'll turn it over to Chief Glavin.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. We'll start off in engineering services. We've recently posted the tender for bridge repair and maintenance program, as well as have closed tenders for the trail rehabilitation program, asphalt crack sealing, and our traffic signal pole and pylon sign inspection program. Construction season is here as of tomorrow when we start our first road project. This is the culvert replacement in Lakeland. It will have some traffic disruption as it will be down to one lane in both directions, and there'll be signals in place to manage that. And it's expected to be completed in mid-June, so it'll be around 6 weeks of construction in that area. In facilities, the Aquaterra outdoor pool is just going through its seasonal repairs and getting ready for it to open on June 3rd. So we're a little over a month, and the outdoor pool will be open. In transit, the heated shelters have finally shipped, so we will have them in place for the next winter season, likely long before that, but they are on the way. As well in transit, a couple small upgrades at a few of the higher utilized stops. We're installing 8 new garbage cans, as well as another 8 later in the year, and have 17 schedule holders that we'll be putting out that will assist people in navigating transit schedule and routes. And we have some others that are just subject to a grant that we've put forward, so we should have a few upgrades around the community here over the course of the year. In Environment and Parks, we had all of our seasonal staff start this week. The new crews are being trained, and some of our more seasoned seasonal crews are already out across the city doing work. Environment hosted a spill response training last week, which saw attendees from a variety of city departments, as well as external agencies such as the County of Grande Prairie and the Government of Alberta. In transportation, our street sweeping program has finished the first rotation of arterial and is on currently doing bus routes. We are also getting ready for our summer program with the commencement of asphalt and storm work here shortly. For gravel road dust control, the program is to begin the week of May 6th. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Chief Glavin. I'll turn it over to committee to see if there are any questions based off the service area update. All right. I do have one question. Just before the weekend, I received a call from a gentleman, I believe, in the Crystal Lakes area in regards to, I guess, a closed off road. It's mostly used as a service road. I'm familiar with it on 88th Street and 112th Avenue. Part of the complaint was the amount of dust that gets kicked up on that road over the course of the year. A question was asked when we might pave that, and my answer, uneducated of course, was I would imagine when we put that road to use at a future date. The other thing that the gentleman mentioned was the laying of the calcium carbonate solution to tamper down the dust. He said he was really appreciative of the efforts, but our water truck came 24 hours later, so he was wondering if there's anything we can do with alignment of services. And I said, I just don't understand the whole process quite as well. And I guess my question to you is, what do we do with roads such as that one where it's cut off in the middle of a residential area, has a lot of loose gravel and dust, and sometimes gets on people's houses in their yard, and especially when cars go zooming by on it?
Sure. Thank you, Chair Thiessen. So with regard to paving of that road, so paving of roads would be triggered by development or in local improvement. So as of right now, this would not fit the criteria of where the city would go out, or at least wouldn't fit our program where we would go and rehabilitate a road, which is where the money for paving goes for in the capital budget is road rehabilitation. Any new roads specifically that are constructed that aren't currently paid or are brought forward as a separate capital ask, administration wouldn't bring that forward in this case because this would be subject to development or in the case of a local improvement. So if you look at previous local improvements, I think it was 128th Avenue up by Ken Sargent, GMC. There was a local improvement where the adjacent business owners paid to pave the road. And the way that the local improvement work is we would finance that through the city. You would pay that as a business owner or a landowner over a period of time.
Okay, no, thank you for that answer. I think it elaborated a little bit more than what I could. Councillor Blackmore.
Chief Glavin, when we speak about that road, it seems to me that that road will eventually be removed entirely. And that, of course, would be triggered by development when the road gets rerouted in a more circuitous path. So is there anything we can do in the meantime to alleviate dust? Right now, it's primarily a walking trail.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. From the portion of the road that is gravel and is used by vehicles right now, I believe we'll get a calcium treatment the week of May 6th. Some of that's subject, though, to weather and usage over the course of the year. Long term, I'd have to look at the plan for that area, but I think you are right. I think eventually that road would come out with development. But as of right now, with no development imminent, this will be a persistent issue in that area.
Just a follow-up question. Councillor Blackmore actually asked one of my follow-up questions, but is there a use for that road besides maybe service, like for access, or is there a potential that as a gravel, dusty road that vehicles ride up, that we might be able to even close it off sooner than allowing traffic to rip around on it?
Thanks, Chair Thiessen. I believe that there are properties that rely on that road for access at this time, so there wouldn't be, I don't believe there's the ability to remove it, but we'd have to look into that further.
Sounds good. Thank you. Mayor Clayton? Oh, sorry. She's just stretching. That's okay. And any other further questions on any matters touching operational services from committee or council? Yeah, Mayor Clayton.
I'm going to pull a Thiessen and just... Chief Glavin, you may have mentioned it in your report, and if you did, I apologize, but can you give me an update on what is the park's approach to watering of perennials and newly planted trees, as it appears to be drier than normal this spring, and we did do some significant beautification work last year?
Chief Glavin.
Thanks, Chair Thiessen. Yeah, so we do manage all the new plantings as well as other trees that may or may not, that may be longer term, that may need to be watered, but we do have typically 2-year warranties with any of the new installations of trees that the vendor does the watering for those those initial 2 years, and then the city has a watering program after that, after we take possession.
Thanks.
Thank you for that, Mayor Clayton. Any other further questions? Seeing none, I'd just like to say, Chief Glavin, I know a lot of members in your department helped out with the Earth Day gathering on April 20th. That was very successful for the city. So I want to thank you and the members of your department for your contributions to that and in helping our community gather together for, of course, the greening of our community and the celebration of Earth Day. As sort of an extended, just for members in the public who might be watching, just a reminder, we won't have another chance to tell you here before then, but a spin-off edition from the Earth Day is the Dig It program for the city of Grande Prairie, where we give out seeds to the activity and recreation center, as well as a pile of dirt that's coming to that for giveaway on May 11th, which is next Saturday. So for anyone paying attention and for members of council who want to share it out amongst their groups. So thank you very much for that. And moving right along to item 4.2, we have a bylaw to discuss under the Special Recreation Services Tax Levy in Pinnacle Ridge. For that, I will turn it back over to Chief Glavin to introduce this.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. This bylaw is an annual bylaw that goes forward for the Special Recreation Services Tax for the fountain in Pinnacle. This has been supported by the community and was community driven going back to 2010. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Director Nellis for the details.
Welcome, Director Nellis.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I am here to present the report on the Pinnacle Pond water feature, and the recommendation is that committee recommend council give 3 readings to Special Recreational Services Tax Bylaw C-1472. As Chief Glavin mentioned in his introduction, brief bit of history here. Until 2010, this pump was operated and maintained by the city. Escalating costs and vandalism made this unsustainable, and the city proposed the removal of the feature. At that point, the Pinnacle Ridge Neighborhood Association formed and advocated for this special levy to support the ongoing operation of the water feature. It was initially set at $20 per month. However, there was ongoing problems with vandalism, and the pump was eventually downsized. And in 2022, we reduced the cost to $12.50 per month for the houses in the affected area to match the operating expenditures more closely. In preparation for this meeting, the public has been invited to comment via correspondence or in person at either this meeting or the upcoming council meeting. We did receive one letter from Ms. Jane Friesen, which should be in your package, expressing support for the fountain and expressing a desire to hopefully return to the larger model at some point. And just to reiterate our recommendation, we recommend the committee recommend council give 3 readings to Special Recreational Services Tax Bylaw C-1472. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Director Nellis. I'll have Councillor Berg in the queue for question.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Thiessen. Thank you, Director Nellis. So basically, my questions are the questions that Ms. Friesen has asked around the larger pump. So is that something that is possible or in the cards for this water feature?
Director Nellis.
Thank you, through the chair. It certainly is possible. Right now, however, it would likely require a significant increase in the amount of this levy, and we would likely have to initiate a consultative process to assess the will of the neighborhood in this area.
Okay, and then her other question was, essentially, is there contingency funds that would cover the costs?
So right now there is a reserve that is at the level of $32,760.04. So it is a significant sum. We haven't done recent costing on what a upgraded pump would cost, and we would need to kind of assess the neighborhood demand to get some accurate costing for that. So it's difficult to tell at this time what that amount would cover and what the ongoing operating expenses would be.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for the question, Councillor Berg. Councillor Blackmore.
Just to move along that same line of questioning, Director Nellis, the current pump, which is not particularly large, what's the life expectancy of that? Like, is it reasonable to think that in 5 years we'll be replacing it anyway, and maybe then we want to consider upgrading?
Director Nellis.
Thank you, through the chair. Yes, excellent question. I think that would be appropriate. The previous pump at this same size lasted for around 7 years. The one that is currently installed was replaced last year. So I think we could definitely initiate that process as we approach end of life for the current model.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, Councillor Clayton, or Mayor Clayton, sorry?
Thanks, Chair Thiessen. Mr. Nellis, in regards to stakeholder engagement, obviously there's one letter in our package. Do you happen to know, or was the Citizen Contact Center, was there questions through that or any other additional outreach from residents of the area?
Through the chair, I haven't been notified of any additional attempts to reach out to committee or to myself personally.
Okay. And just a comment, I think, as this was initially implemented in 2010, people transition through residential areas. I don't know what the average person lives, how long they live in Pinnacle, but I think that at some point council should consider allocating some money to do another round of engagement, whether that's mailing directly to the houses, the 668 houses that are communicated with. If you've lived there a long time, you're aware of it. if you saw it on social media, you're aware of it. But if you don't fit into either of those buckets, you may not be aware of it. So I just think that maybe council should consider next time we look at engagement to put earmark some money for a more thorough engagement of those 668 houses. Thanks.
And thanks for those comments, Mayor Clayton. I have Councillor Blackmore.
If the chair is pleased with this, I'll do business. I would move that committee recommend council give 3 readings to bylaw C 1472, being the special recreational services tax bylaw.
Thank you for that motion. That is in order. If you don't mind, I'd just love to comment on that. I know previously when we were talking about replacing the pump, we had over 700 of those houses engaged, and they all said unanimously, we want this, which is why we continue to do this. I want to thank Director Nellis for building up that reserve fund and also ensuring that this is paid for year over year over year. For me, though, I really want to thank you for the extra learning that I gleaned from this. A lot of times we receive reports year over year. This is one of them, detailing how much the special levy is going to be for the fountain. I didn't think I could learn much extra from it, but this year I learned from our environmental impact that the fountains and water features create minimal noise pollution, and the flow of water supplies oxygen to the pond, reducing the growth of algae. So that was something I don't think I have ever seen in any of our reports. So thank you for taking that extra consideration. And now I know that this isn't just a vanity or a recreation feature, it's actually something that's doing very useful for the environment in the Pinnacle neighborhood. So thank you for that. With that being said, there's a motion on the floor, so I'll call it to question. And that motion carries. Thank you very much, Director Nellis. I'm not sure if you're leaving. We do have another report here. Item 4.3, Service Club Signage. And I'll turn it over to Chief Glavin to introduce us, and perhaps we'll talk to Mr. Nellis again.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. So back in the fall of 23, we had representatives from the Legion and the Rotary Clubs come forward looking for the city to replace the existing service club signage. At that time, there were 2 locations that were in service with signs and a third that the sign was taken out when the Highway 40 was twinned. We're recommending that we go forward and redesign and replace those signs. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Nellis.
Thank you, Chief Glavin. Mr. Nellis.
Hello again. Through the chair, we're recommending today that committee recommend council direct administration to proceed with the redesign and reinstallation of 3 service club signs at the new city boundaries, with funding to come from the Transportation Department operating budget. So just a bit of background on these. As Chief Glavin said, there are currently 3 existing locations, 2 that have signs currently in place. These were Highway 40 northbound at 68th Avenue, which was removed as part of the twinning project. Highway 43 eastbound east of 116th Street, and 100th Street southbound just south of 132nd Avenue. As part of the preparation for this report, we did a jurisdictional scan, which you'll see in the analysis section of the report. There was a wide variety of approaches to service club signage in similar sized municipalities throughout Alberta, with a number of them having no service club signage whatsoever, a number having 1 sign, and Okotoks having 2 different entrances into their city. None of the cities that we contacted had a policy in place defining what a service club was or was not. In terms of stakeholder engagement, I attended a meeting on March 17th, 2024 of an informal gathering of service clubs in the city of Grande Prairie. This included members from Rotary, Elks, Lions, Legion, and Anavets. I discussed a couple of options with them, and they were supportive of the idea of refreshing the current signage. But did want to consider new locations that were closer to our current city boundaries. They also indicated a desire on any redesigned sign to have a URL present so that they could direct people to a digital presence. So there are a couple of, the motion was to present options, so there are some options. Our recommendation, of course, is to proceed with the like-for-like replacement of these signs. We also have the option to remove the signage entirely and direct clubs to alternate or low-cost options within the city, and some of those are listed in the options section of this report. And thirdly, we could attempt to get budget for enhanced signage. The images that you'll see in attachment 2, some of the service club signage in other municipalities, just for an idea of cost, Figure 2 Airdrie, that sign cost $65,000 in 2006. So something similar in size and scope would likely be in the $70,000 to $100,000 range at this point for a single installation. So in conclusion, we feel that like-for-like replacement of the signs that are currently in place is a cost-effective option of honoring these service clubs and the contribution that they make to quality of life here in the city of Grande Prairie. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions council might have.
Thank you for your report, Director Nellis. I have Councillor Berg in the queue.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Thiessen. And Mr. Nellis, I think you just answered my question, but I was waving my hand earlier. But basically, in summary, there's no extra budget ask, and we're just simply refreshing what's there, so no need for a full redesign or replacement.
That's right. And I'm sorry, through the chair, there would be a redesign of these signs to make sure that we're compliant with the updated brand image for the city.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I know she's burning. She doesn't sit on our committee, but Councillor Bosch.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. I guess my question is, when I look at the list of people, and I know that's the stakeholders that joined you, but I do understand that the Scouts and the Girl Guides often work together. Would you include them? And then as far as the Legion, there's also the Veterans Gardens and the Veterans Association. So I'm not sure if they would have expectations. And the third one, we have a couple different Rotary clubs, but we have 5 in total. Is it just easier to put Rotary clubs of Grande Prairie?
Thank you for the question. I think I can tackle most of those. As far as the Rotary clubs go, they have decided to start promoting themselves as a more unified entity. So they're fine with the consolidation of their current 2 spots into 1. As far as the allocation of the other spots, we propose the grandfathering of the existing clubs in place to start with, since they were on the current signage. In consultation with this group, they propose the Legion and the Anavets as, good candidates for the remaining, or the 2 spots that might open, with the Shriners being defunct and the consolidation of the Rotary spaces. We haven't considered Girl Guides, knowing that Scouts Canada is now, open to both genders. So really, there is some room for interpretation as to what could be on this new sign. We were leaning on this group that we were consulting with to hopefully provide us with some suitable candidates for those empty slots.
Right. I just recently learned that the Veterans Association is fairly new for us here in this community. So I think it's just, there's changes all the time. And perhaps is there room to have the sign a little larger so that if you have to increase, you can just add plaques for organizations that fit?
Director Nellis?
Through the chair. With the existing size of the signs, if we weren't to increase them, we wouldn't have any more room to add more logos and keep them at a legible size. Of course, we could increase the size. It would definitely increase the budgetary requirements. And then we may need to create a policy or, do further consultation with community groups to determine what should and should not be included on any additional signage, or which slot should be allocated to whom.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Bosch. Councillor Blackmore.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. I am not in favor of service club signage, period. And the reason why is because there's always issues maintaining them. There's always issues keeping track of whether or not those service clubs still exist. Certainly we have service clubs on our signage that are no longer providing service in Grande Prairie. So I just feel that in this, it's unlike me to say this, but in this day and age of access to Google and electronic marketing, I don't feel these signs are providing value to either the people entering the city or the service clubs who would hopefully be required to pay something to have their logo on the sign should it go forward. And the other concern I have is how do you build a sign that is actually accommodating to all of the service clubs that are in the community? We have spaces for maybe 9, and what if there's 30? So I just will not support any motion that might move this forward.
Thank you for your comments. Councillor Blackmore, Councillor Burke.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Thiessen. I'm actually quite content with status quo. So what we've had, I'm content with continuing on. I don't want to see us spend a whole bunch of money on additional signage, and whether it's making it bigger or creating something that's just a little more decorative. I think if any potential money could go to better uses than the service sign. But with that, again, I'm content with the refresh and moderate redesign that is being proposed within current budget. So when you're ready, I can do business.
Yeah, how about we get that on the floor and then we can discuss and debate from there. Councillor Burke.
Sure. I would like to move committee recommend council direct administration to proceed with the redesign and reinstallation of 3 service club signs at the new city boundaries, with funding to come from the Transportation Department's operating budget.
Awesome. That motion is in order. And I'll look for discussion or debate on the motion. I guess I could throw in my own 2 cents. I share the same sentiments as Councillor Berg in this regard. I think it's a small thing that the City of Grande Prairie, a service that we can offer to our service clubs that help make our community so great. If you're not aware of what Rotary does or what the Lions Club has done or all these other service organizations, they have definitely contributed to the fabric of not only our charitable community, but our overall community. And this is a small ask with literally no cost. I think one of the things that is actually the sign discussion got me thinking about, is there a potential, maybe in the future, maybe not right now, that we can advertise some of the amenities that the City of Grande Prairie provides inside of our borders. So as you come in, you see an Eastlink Center or Centre 2000 Tourism Center or the Montrose Cultural Center. I think that could be another way, potentially, if council today or in the future want to do that. But right now, I'm perfectly content with giving this little gift to that means so much to our service organizations, and I'll support it. Looking for other discussion or debate? Seeing none, I'll call the question. And that motion carries. Thank you very much, Director Nellis, for your reports today. I'm not sure if you're going to be doing our outstanding items list.
Nope, that's all for me. Thank you.
All right, well, you're off the hook, and I'll turn it back over to Chief Glavin.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. So today we took care of item 1291, entrance signs, and that is the only change from the outstanding items. And I just wanted to address one question that I forgot to answer in the dust control side. There was a question around the application of water after calcium, and that is actually part of the application of calcium, is adding water after to activate the calcium. So it's not being done by accident, it's purposeful.
Yeah, and I guess perhaps I maybe could have been clear with the question. Thank you for that answer, Chief Glavin. I think the concern that was expressed to me by the resident is that they put the calcium on. We were both aware of the wetting process, but it took another 24 hours before they came with the water truck, and I just wasn't aware of when we apply the water. I assumed, like I think the resident assumed, that it was applied shortly after, but in the time that the calcium was provided, you have vehicles running by, you have wind kicking it up, and then one wonders if the calcium is where it's supposed to be on the gravel road, or if it somehow found its way into the ditch or the field beside it.
We'll take that as advice, and we'll just ensure they're following proper process. I just wanted to give that additional clarity because I had forgot as part of the answer.
Yeah, no, I certainly appreciate that. Thank you very much. So we do have our outstanding items list. I'll look for motion. Councillor Blackmore.
I'd move that committee receive the April 30th outstanding items list as amended.
That motion is in order. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, I'll call the question.
Mayor Clayton in favor.
And that motion carries, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.